Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are live and welcome to the Sports is My Love Language podcast, man. I'm excited. We got a lot to talk about tonight, Pablo. I'm here with my main man, PD Pablo, aka El Schefter, the guy that has the information before some of these websites get it, man. And it's just perfect. It's a perfect match today because I want to welcome everybody into our living room, into our barbershop, where we talk sports, we chop it up, and whether we use analytics, whether you're using our gut feeling, we're gonna say what we gotta say, man. And if you don't agree with it, comment, let us know what your thoughts are. But it's cool, man. We're here to kind of show everybody that you can agree to disagree. It's just sports. Let's have a good time and enjoy it. Hopefully people chime in and jump in with us. Couple of things. Shout out to our boys, man. My man Javito, my man AK. They'll be back soon. My man Andre. Everybody's handling some adult business. Hopefully they'll be back soon. We get back on live again. But in the meantime, like I said, man, so much to talk about in the world of sports, man. Let's start off with we're gonna start off with some college kids, man. Let's talk about these college guys, college men, college kids. At this point, that's we gotta have to like call them men, you know what I mean? But when I throw my hat in the ring, I also remember that I made mistakes at that age. So I try to be as delicate as possible with when I talk about some of these subjects. The first one is a little mind-boggling. And I know even the facts on the first case that we're going to talk about today are a little blurred. But I want to know your thoughts on the Alabama situation. The Alabama basketball team, where one of their star players, freshman star players, there were some accusations flying around about him and a gun that was used to hurt somebody or to make some threats, and somebody got shot with that said gun. So, what are your thoughts, Petey?
Well, just to give context to the situation, in case there are people that are not familiar with it. So Brandon Miller was quasi involved in what ended up being a shooting of a 23-year-old woman by another player from the Alabama basketball team. I can't remember his name right now. So that player is obviously, facing the charges of shooting that woman, that 23-year-old woman that died. So what Brandon Miller's involvement is that he allegedly provided the weapon that was used, but that's where the details kind of get a little murky, depending on who you want to believe. So basically what ended up happening is the player that shot that woman texted him and says, "Hey, bring the gun." However, Brandon Miller was already on his way he was supposed to pick up that kid at, his teammate was supposed to pick him up just for a ride or whatever. He was already on his way, and that particular weapon was already in the vehicle. Now, allegedly, Brandon Miller didn't know that it was there. So that's where it gets murky is did he know it was there and he gave it to him, or he didn't know it was there, but the player knew that the gun was in the car and he grabbed it, and that's where it becomes murky. So that's where that sits. So that's one aspect of it.
This is one of those stories.
Yeah.
Let me come in and I'm gonna give you the floor because I want to make sure that this is like an important. It's all about who reads the information that we're being provided, what state you're from, and what your thoughts are on the politics behind these weapons. That kind of makes you really read it. If obviously we're reading for the facts, but even it's one of those rare cases where when interpreting the facts, you have to do it. So many people are doing it from different lenses. You know what I mean? So go ahead, Pablo. Finish your thoughts.
Right. And also just to add a context, Brandon Miller's not under any investigation. He's being treated more like a witness in this case officially. And also in Alabama, there's no requirement to have a license, concealed carry license, or anything like that. You're free to carry a weapon in the state of Alabama. So that's kind of where that context is. So everyone can kind of take that for what they may. What's been the issue is how, number one, Alabama's been handling it. And then as of more recently, kind of how people, he has been handling it, or how he's been viewing it, or maybe even the other players on the team have been viewing it. The coach at first, the head coach, and like the athletic director, they kind of didn't handle it well, in terms of what they were saying. They apologized for what they did and blah, blah, blah. Who cares about that? Where my kind of issue was what happened the other day when I guess they were doing player intros, right, Mike? And, Brandon Miller gets introduced, and then one of the other teammates, does like, like a pat down type of thing, ha 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 type of thing. And that kind of is not telling me that, you really don't give a shit about what happened. You're taking it lightly. I understand you're not involved. So, okay, that's fine. You're not involved. But don't make light of the situation because a woman died, and that woman had a kid, or, at least, I know she was definitely a mother. I don't know if she had one or more kids. And it was a teammate of yours that was involved. So why is anybody on that team even messing around when you've got a teammate that's under, getting hit up on a murder charge right now? So regardless of whether Brandon Miller was involved or not, nobody on that team should kind of be having any type of fun about that situation. And that's kind of where you're leading is about, is this a boy? Is this a man? Yeah, technically, legally, he's an adult. Anatomically, he's a man, but that's not behaving like one of the best players.
The frontal cortex, what is it? The frontal lobe was not fully developed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
but you're now Alabama's probably considered the top seed in the tournament right now. And you can consider one of the best players, not the best player in the country. So
it brings you back, right? It's like this wouldn't have flown at Notre Dame. This wouldn't have floated at Stanford. This wouldn't have floated at University of Miami, which a lot of people don't understand is a top institution educationally. What has happened at Michigan? You know what I'm saying? These are institutions of higher learning that this would not have flown in.
It wouldn't have happened in Alabama football. Nick Saban would not let people behave like that.
Okay, I'm going to say this. There's been history of there's been history of shady shit that's happened in Alabama football, and they've it's a tough call.
With a murder case on?
No, not murder case.
That's what I'm talking about. I know what you're saying about other stuff, but this is a serious topic. And if Nick Saban had a player involved or quasi-involved, well, first of all, he had a player that is involved.
Here's the thing, Pablo. Here's the thing. So I'm going to play devil's advocate on the side of the Alabama's team, not even related to the case. Alabama let's say they take the moral high ground, right? And they take the kid scholarship, or whatever.
I'm not even asking for that. I'm saying like because of that quasi little pat down, you probably should.
No, that part we agree on. Wait, that part we agree on.
Okay.
Let's go before that. The reason, because a lot of people are really like up in the air about why they didn't do anything. If there's no legal recourse, right? The state prosecutor is saying, look, there's nothing we can charge him with, and all that stuff. And then you take his scholarship, right? You take his essentially what could be his livelihood. Remember, NIL plays a big deal now. You take that money from
I'm not now. I wouldn't have been advocating to rip him off the team and all that. I think the moment that it came out that he was quasi involved, you kind of sit him down and wait to see what happens.
Right.
And then you're more of a witness. You're being viewed in that way. Okay, you're back. But now you pull off this stunt and we're like, okay, now you're being a dick. Now we're gonna sit you suspend. You're not gonna play a game or two. I'm not advocating him to get anything revoked or kicked off the team or anything like that. I know there's people out there that think that, and there's people that don't like Alabama at all because of whatever.
There's literally only a handful of states. Florida being not even Florida. I don't think Florida would have fallen into that because there's some statutes against not keeping track of your gun.
For now, see, there's a bill to kind of do the same thing and have no concealed carry anymore.
No. You see, that's different. You're supposed to, you're supposed to have reasonable and I forgot what the wording is of where your gun is and located at all times. Mm-hmm. So if my gun is in your possession, I can't claim that I don't know, unless I filed.
Well, and that's the weird part about that case that I haven't been able to research it is whose gun is it?
Well, supposedly here's the thing. Here's the thing, Pablo. In Alabama, right? You could hold my gun, shoot it, take it down the block, hang out with it, come back. Hey, I got your gun. Here, Mike. Like you could borrow it, like you borrow my lawnmower.
It ain't your gun, right? Technically,
right? It's officially right. Where here, let's say here in Florida, you cannot do that. You know what I'm saying? I have to understand and know where my gun is at all times. You know what I'm saying? I have to be really aware, and I can't claim, oh, I didn't know. No. So you didn't file a report, where it was stolen or something?
Right.
No, okay, then you're responsible for it. In Alabama, it's not like that. It's just a matter of like, oh, here, you take my rifle, I'll take yours.
Yeah.
Oh, you take my thing, and that's the laws are just completely out of whack over there. Where this kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? And again, I don't know what the kid's intention was. I don't know. I'm not trying to add any.
Well, that's what it gets murky, right? Because it's
right.
either did he know the gun was there and he actually said, "Oh yeah, well it's right there. Go ahead and take it," or he didn't know it was there, but the other guy did, and he took it and he used it.
Where we agree is that pat down was bullshit. That was enough grounds for me to suspend the kid, suspend him indefinitely. Like, you are literally suspended for being an idiot.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's behavioral. It's kind of productive towards the team. I can make a lot of different claims on how that behavior detrimental to the team. Shit like that. Mocking somebody who passed.
Easily.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. But it is what it is. And then it kind of now leads us to the second story.
Yeah, man.
Which I think is a little more egregious.
It is, man. It's up, man. Anytime alcohol is involved in a vehicle, and people reckless behavior, people lose their lives. It's indefensible. It's indefensible to try to, there are no words to protect, to defend. Whatever. All the guy could do is say, "I'm sorry, like I fucked up, and I fucked up really bad," right? Where here's a couple of places where he got lucky. He got lucky because it's a misdemeanor charge, right, Pablo? That's weird.
Yeah, a couple of misdemeanor charges for racing and related to racing on the road. And
so when somebody lost their life, he literally
yeah. So it's a couple of things, and for those of you that are not sure, this is Jalen Carter, right, from Georgia, who's an NFL prospect at the combine right now. For those that didn't hear, a couple of months ago, there were two students from Georgia and two staff members from Georgia that got into a car accident, and two of them died. One player and the driver that was driving. So two of the four people died. It was a one-car accident. Discovered that, the driver was legally drunk. Significant, I think a good amount higher than the legal limit. And they had questioned Jalen Carter, like, if you were at the scene, were you involved? And he at first said no. He was like way ahead. He was further ahead. He didn't see it, and he came back. But kind of turned out that he was lying about it. After some investigation, there's been, the police have determined that they actually were basically racing on the road, and unfortunately, the car, with the four people, crashed, and he basically just didn't stay. He left on there. He wasn't involved in the accident. No one saying he caused the accident. It's just,
an accessory.
It was just a stupid thing to do, after they were celebrating the championship and everything like that. It's just dumb. Like I said, it's not about that. Oh, is he in trouble or anything like that? No, he's not. He's not in legal trouble. He's got a couple of misdemeanors or whatever that is in the state of Georgia for those particular charges. But I think he's going to get sued civilly by the families of those that survived.
Part of it,
because reckless driving. Just because the driver was drunk in the other car doesn't mean that it leads to automatic racing. But you were involved in the part of that, and that contributed, indirectly, if you want to say it, in my view, to potentially the other person not being able to control the car because you were racing.
Whenever I hear about tragedy like this, man, it drives me crazy, because all I ever say is, therefore, through the grace of God go I. I mean, I can't defend him. I can't defend any of the actions that night. They drank, they fucked up, they fucked up. But then parts of me just fucking hurts, man, for them. Everybody involved, and including him. Part of me hurts because he's a grown man technically, but we all know how freaking immature we were at that age, man. We all know the stupid shit that we did at that age. that one turn, one little extra, one this, one that, oh man, it could have been us. You know what I mean? So that part of me is always like, dude, I hope this doesn't fucking, like, please get your life together, get right. This is crazy, you know? And it'd be very easy for me to just fucking lambaste the kid. But shit, man, it's.
But
I don't
you can lambast, you can do that,
but I don't
and not feel hypocritical about it, because if you yourself made dumb mistakes like that, or I'm saying you in general, like a lot of us have done dumb mistakes, including driving. You've been out at a restaurant, you have a few drinks, you're always technically legally drunk, right? But the part that's stupid is engaging in stupid behavior, like doing racing in the street and swerving.
Wait. Here's the thing, Pablo. We cannot distinguish between the stupid behavior was the cause of the stupidest behavior, and the stupidest behavior was drinking and driving.
Well, of course,
that was the one. And that's why, and that's where we can go into everything else that happened after that. But that's where I kind of like, fuck, man, and I'm gonna throw myself out there. When I was that age, at some point, somewhere, I know I made that mistake. You know what I mean? And it drives me crazy because I'm like, fuck, man, like, yo, you could literally, man, one more person that didn't learn, that didn't have that conversation with their parent, that didn't talk. It just, you know what it really does? I'll be honest with you, Paul. You know what it really does? It really makes me want to go harder as a dad and talk to my daughter. Be like, Ma, listen, man. There's gonna be a time, and there's gonna be places, and the tough part about it is
she's gonna have a decision to make on a particular night,
right. And the tough part about it is once they're out there, all you can do is hope.
But we don't have to. I lost the word I was gonna say. We don't have to judge him like if this is a constant thing. He could have been a one-time dumbass decision. I mean, we don't know Jalen Carter from anybody else in terms of what his type of personality is.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to feel bad about saying, I've gone, driving when I'm like technically over, 2 beers in, you're technically over the legal limit in pretty much any state, right? So it's like, I get it, but you don't have to feel bad. I'm a hypocrite for that. But and the alcohol doesn't necessarily, like I said, alcohol is not leading to them choosing a race. They could be dead sober and choose to fucking race because we see that all the time too.
Yeah.
That's to me where the stupidity is. Like, why? You know what I'm saying? Why? And not just him, but the other driver too. It isn't just about him. Unfortunately, he's one of the ones that nothing. He should be lucky nothing happened to him. He should be lucky that car didn't swerve into him or something like that, and then cause a bigger wreck. Especially if you're doing swerving into oncoming traffic. It wasn't like they were in like an empty road, from what I understand. Other cars on the road. You could have fucked up other people. How many times do we hear that? Drunk driving accidents that have innocent people involved. So it's a stupid decision. Stupid behavior. I'm not going to say that he's a stupid person or immature person or anything like that.
Jen says he was caught 3 times by Athens PD speeding 90 to 100 miles per hour. No, it's a very busy road. You see, as those facts come out, it makes it definitely.
And that's a pattern, right? That's a behavioral pattern.
Yeah. So, I'll tell you what's going to happen. Okay. So it kind of leads us into the next topic. Right now, the combine is going on, and I'm sure every single one of those teams is doing their due diligence to find out what his deal is.
Those interviews are going to be even now more.
Oh, classic, bro! To find out what his deal is, what his involvement is. Does he have a drinking problem?
What type of behavior?
Problem? And it's no doubt going to cost him a couple $1 million because he's dropping. There's no way somebody's going to touch him with a 10-foot pole in the top 10. Which is what he was projected as, early top 10. And he rolls his eyes hard when he was pulled over. Yeah. You see, Jen has a lot more on the case.
She lives.
Yeah, she's a local down in Georgia. So
so that brings light into maybe the type of behavior. And you know what? You don't think these NFL teams are going to look at all this shit?
Of course.
All that information, and they're going to start build a pattern on him, or build a particular perception of him. Yeah, it's gonna cost him money in his draft status, and it's gonna cost him money, I think, civilly at some point.
We will see. It's gonna be interesting to watch.
Because it was, like I said, me thinking, if I'm the other 2 people that survived that weren't driving, they could easily say, you know, just because the driver of that car was drunk doesn't mean that if they hadn't engaged in drunk driving, that something would have happened, right? It could have just been a drive home and nothing happened, right? But
Yeah.
so he's part of that. He's a part of that decision, overall decision that was decided to be made to, hey, let's fucking drag race. And if it shows that he's got this tendency to be a speed demon, shit, could he have been the one to say, hey, let's go? You know, I'm just speculating on that.
Yeah, they said they gave the cops 3 different stories.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
the way
that's
back.
what I had read.
Here's the other thing. But let's move on. Let's move on to the next.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the NFL Combine is going on right now, man. You know what? There's a statistic, something I would like to really see, because I'm starting to be convinced that the NFL Combine is just a means for the NFL to keep their core audience involved throughout the year, because I would like to see the ratio of high performers to stars or Pro Bowlers or even starters. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we always get these tremendous stats and these 40s and these all world combine guys. I would like to see how that translates to their performance on the field.
Well, that's been that kind of like the
Dan Campbell talked on that. He was like, I do it for the meetings.
Right. To talk to them, right? And kind of understand them, which is good. I think that's probably the most beneficial part of the combine. But like, yeah, these physical, things and all that, like, are they really doing things that, okay, running backs, what are you doing to see how good they are as a running back? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because once the lights hit, once there's a person in front of you, everything changes. You know what I'm saying? You're not getting the same, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. And I could name you 10 players that I remember had these record-setting, oh my God, amazing fucking stats that never made it in the league.
Or even like the Wonderlic test. What does that have to do with someone's ability to make a decision on the field? All it shows is that it's your ability to take a test.
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro, and this is not an original thought. This is from Steve Young. Steve Young. I'm gonna paraphrase Steve Young. Steve Young felt that the Wonderlic test was race related. He felt that it was directly race related. That it was a test because it was supposed. I hate that I didn't really. I'm gonna put the link so that people don't. I'm not bullshitting. He just was relating it to racing that there was that stigma for the black quarterback, and a lot of times in the past, because of the education on this level, preparatory, whatever he was going on, that they kind of like put that in there to kind of make sure they prove it. And then for a lot of years, unfortunately, that was the hang up. Like, it's like a Vince Young, Steve McNair had a hard time. A lot of these really good quarterbacks, Brandon Cunningham, no, those four in the Cunningham.
But it goes back to my point. That has zero to do with your ability to make a decision.
Zero.
And trying to find the open receiver. Can you see the hot read and get your check down quick because the blitz is coming.
Not only that, but technology has made it obsolete. Technology and the way people learn nowadays, right? The way before, if you were learning on paper and they were just drawing everything, now you literally have a visual.
Yeah.
Everything is visual. Everything is interactive. Everything is fast moving. Like, you got to make your decision, but you're also moving your hands and you know what I mean? So the way that people are learning now, yeah, that's obsolete, bro. It's all bullshit. I mean, there's things that I obviously agree with. That interview, yeah, I want to sit down with you. I want to see your character. I want to see what your approach is, because your approach may be very laid back, very chill. And let's say I'm a team in Minnesota where that fits perfect in my locker room. But then you walk into a room and you're very relaxed and chill, but you're trying to go to New England, and New England's like, nah, we don't play that. You better sit up straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's important.
Or even the guys that show leadership, like vocal leadership, and maybe it's a team that maybe is void of that.
Yeah.
And you can say, you know what, this guy can come in, will feel confident enough to be able to begin to lead, after a little bit of, kind of getting used to, being here. But he's got the traits to, once that comfort level hits, they're going to take, the bull by the horns and lead, whether it's team, whether it's just their position or whatever, whatever.
Especially like QB. Especially like QB, linebacker.
I was reading today that Bryce and Anthony Richardson were wowing those interviews.
I mean, Bryce Young is coming from the school of Nick Saban, bro. You don't think he got grilled every single week? Like, you know what I mean? He got grilled as a pro every single week. The guy Richardson, okay, this is why I worry about him. Every year there's a quarterback that zooms up the boards, and people they label him the it guy, and he becomes like this, whatever. Here's my deal. I watched him play, and his upside. His upside is Cam Newton.
It's huge.
Physically. Josh Allen.
He is being looked at as a project, though.
Yeah, he has a gun. Yeah, exactly.
No one is saying that he's NFL ready, like to start what they want.
No, but they're talking about like Carolina should take him. They're talking, you know what I mean? Like,
Carolina takes like that's fine, but they got to sign a veteran then.
That's what they have to do. Exactly. Shit like that. So I'm like, I'm very skeptical of him. And I also saw him in big games. We talked about May. Him, I also saw him in big games, and I saw him shrivel. But then I saw him stand out the last game of the year, and I saw him play against Georgia, and he stood out. You know what I mean? So there's plus and minuses with him.
That's growth. That's experience. I mean,
I'll tell you this much: not one quarterback outside of Bryce Young, not one of these quarterbacks would have gotten drafted the year that Lamar, Baker, and all them came out. Those prospects were so much higher than this class is coming now. And then, but
2018 class.
Yeah, but listen, to flip that, every one of these quarterbacks would have been ranked higher than the quarterbacks that came out last year, including what do you call it for Chicago? Every one of them.
Fields.
Yeah, this class is ranked higher than that class, but it's not as high as the top. Some of the top tier classes. Next,
my only thing. Yeah, my only thing, like, and I think we've talked about it in the past, is just if you're going to draft a quarterback, be prepared to build around the skills of this quarterback.
Yeah.
Because how many quarterbacks we've seen, regardless of how they're rated, especially the top ones, they're ready and they're, day one and blah, 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 blah. But then they go to the team and then I see that they're not building around the skill sets that the guy has. Trying to put, square peg in a round hole. You know what I'm saying? And
to just make it happen on his athletic ability.
I just don't think you can do that with QBs today. You can't. They need the proper, like, it's all the little things. I'm not even talking about, he needs receivers and he needs a running. I'm not even talking about that. Every quarterback needs that. I'm talking about what type of offensive line what type of blocking scheme are you going to play that aligns with the skill set? That kid's a pocket passer. Mm-hmm. What type of blocking scheme do you have? You know what I'm saying? If that kid's a runner, are you going to be running more rollouts so your line protections adjust? Do you have your linemen that can do that, or do you need to also build that? And I can see that, and it just looks like that some teams never do that. And I am confident saying that there's been quarterbacks that have been drafted in the past that if the right team invested, or the team invested in them correctly, in terms of building around them, that some of these guys that didn't pan out might have been a little better. It isn't just necessarily that the quarterback is a bust. The only one I can tell you off the bat that I know is a bust is Jamarcus Russell, because we knew he didn't want to do shit as soon as he got paid. That's ended up what came out about him eventually. He was lazy, didn't study, blah, 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 blah. So he didn't embrace the opportunity that he had. But other than that, some of these QBs could have been much more, better than they were if Like, remember Josh Rosen? How highly rated was he?
You know what? It makes me mad how the league treated him. When I watched him battle it out against Sam Darnold, UCLA versus USC, that was one of the most classic college football games I've ever seen in my life. And they were both being clutch. Now, I remember not really being a fan of Donald. I was like, all right, whatever. I kind of fell into the hype with him during the draft, just because the judge drafted him. But I thought Rosen was going to be something, and that guy never got the opportunity. Never
got a chance. He had nothing around him. Nothing was built around him at all.
But then again, we also don't see what happened in practice. Maybe he just didn't get the scheme. Maybe he just was off. Maybe he had a bad attitude. There's a lot there. There's a lot there. Let's talk. Let's go into the big moves. The big moves. Let's start with DeAndre Hopkins. Apparently, they're opening to trading him and get him out of there.
Second round
Would you
pick is
want
the
him on the New
Giants.
York Giants?
Yes. I would want him on the Giants, and then I want them to draft a rookie, a receiver, one of the top 2, 3, depending on where they can get him. I think the kid from USC is out, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I would love for them to get him, and you put Hopkins, and then you have Isaiah Hodgins, who came out of nowhere last year, and Shepard hopefully will be back. He's injury prone, but he's like a leader on that team, the veteran. He could be like that fourth receiver. I'd be happy with that type of kind of core. But I'd give up a second round for DeAndre Hopkins, and take that contract. It's about 18 million, I think, this year, and I think I sent it to you guys. I remember it's less than 20 million each year for the next 2 years.
You think that? With Dable there, I think that'd be beautiful. That would be the Diggs. That would be the Diggs, Stephon Diggs, to the Buffalo trade.
At worst, people have to respect him.
Hell yeah.
I'm not saying he can't play anymore. I'm not saying that. I'm saying at worst case, you have to respect him, which will open things up for everything else.
Now we got the quarterback carousel, man.
What a carousel it is.
I'm still nothing's been resolved. I'm still very confused. I'm going to say something. I'm sure
everybody's waiting on Meth Head.
I don't, as a Jets fan, I know this is controversial for people, some Jet fans. I don't want him. Not that he's not great, not that he's not awesome. I don't want him. He has a history of not playing well with, not being patient with young receivers. We have a room full of them with Wilson, Young, Moore, young receivers, not to mention the guys that haven't gotten the time, Mims. We have a room full of very young receivers. We have a young running back, and these guys are going to make mistakes. They're not going to be perfect. They're still learning themselves. They're still developing. I don't think he's the guy for them. He doesn't have that type of patience. He almost ruined their wide receiver early on with the bitching and the moaning. Luckily, he sat down with the coaches. They were able to kind of get everything right, and the receiver did blossom.
Well, if he would have been there earlier in training camp, he could have done this development.
Exactly. And that's what I'm afraid of. I'm like, with this team that we have, with the amount of talent that we have, we need a guy that's going to be there early, leave late, have off-season, gather the receivers, gather the young guys, get them on a field somewhere in Texas, somewhere in fucking Cali. Let's go throw the ball around. That's what we need. He's not that, man. He's not that.
Carr is that.
And that's why
Derek Carr
now
does that.
all the reports. See, I have two thoughts. All the reports are that he loved it. Our coach is in love with him. Everything is great, right?
Well, they told him he'd be a Hall of Famer. They said he'd be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, you're like, you win with the Jets. You have to be all. But here's the thing. I have been wounded and hurt before, and I've been used before, and I'm tired of players using the Jets as a pawn to get where they really want to go. So I'm just hoping it's not New Orleans or not Carolina.
Anywhere that he signs is a lesser situation.
Yes, but it's also New York. That's a big monster of a media. He is a bit of a country. Even though he's from Cali, he's a bit of a country boy. The all shucks kind of guy. So I don't know what he looks like under the bright lights of.
Well, his brother was in New York for a little bit. Maybe he can talk to him.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I definitely don't want Ryan Tannehill. That guy could just quit the NFL today. I would not be interested in him. And then you see that's where it gets murky, because after that, we're picking up some third string quarterback, or we're going to go into the draft back-to-back years for a first rounder.
No, they're not. They can't do that.
That's crazy.
I mean, okay, so it's Rodgers, it's Carr, then I think it's Jimmy.
Yes.
There's Jimmy, then there's Tannehill, now there's Wentz.
But is there really?
I mean, technically, I mean, skill set wise, I don't know. Damn, there's another thing. I'm forgetting another name out there.
Mariota.
That's really.
I mean, look, there's quarterbacks. There's Jameis Winston.
Giants don't do something with Daniel Jones, and You know,
Daniel Jones. Oh God.
no, he's gonna get franchise. He's gonna get non-exclusive franchise tag if they can't come to an agreement. And that's
Do you
it.
think
Is what
I had a report Jalen Ramsey to the Giants?
well, he's kind of like because they do analysis of like these potential top free agents. Where would they fit? And the Giants is one of those teams where they feel that he would fit. I didn't read the whole article. I sent that to the chat.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance to read the whole article, but I think he would fit that scheme, that defensive scheme. It would help because but he's not who he used to be. But
No.
we got a couple of young corners, with the Dory Jackson there. Who's the other dude? I forgot. So it wouldn't have to be all on him. The secondary is young, but he's a veteran and he is a leader. He's vocal. So I think that would be the greatest asset he could bring on there. We don't have to always put him on the number one because, like I said, he's been getting burned the last couple of years with the top when he plays the top guys. He's getting his ass burned. But he's a veteran. He's still good. And like I said, we've got two good corners there. And I think it would just help. So I think it would be a fit. I didn't look at his contract yet, how much it would cost. So the Giants have about $50 million in cap room right now. It's fourth highest in the league. But it depends what, they're close. I think what I heard, they're close with Barkley to getting a deal done. That's not going to be a lot of money. That's going to be probably 13, 14 million, I think, at the most. I think Jones is going to get non-exclusive franchise tag. It'll be 32 million. He can choose not to play. But if he's non-exclusive franchise tag, he's free to talk to other teams.
Ain't nobody taking out giving up 2 picks for him. Hell no.
But if he makes a deal, the Giants have an opportunity to match, which they probably won't. But their team has to give up 2 first-round picks, and no team's going to do that. So I don't know what he's smoking. Must be some good shit. But
whoever gives up 2 first-round picks for him should be shot.
Yes.
I don't know what's worse, picking him number 6 overall, or having given up 2 6 first-round picks. That shit is terrible.
And the other thing that's interesting about the quarterbacks in the NFL, well, not even quarterback, is we talked about it, is all this like back and forth about what the Bears should do with their pick, right? And just for the record, there's never been a report that, excuse me, there's never been a report that the Bears are thinking about trading Justin Fields. That's never been a thing. That's other people talking, throwing out scenarios, trying to talk. But I think you and I talked about it. I go, what the Bears should do is just trade out. Just trade out. You got $90-something million in the cap room space, most in the league. You can get picks. You trade out a number 1, get picks, because somebody's going to want either Bryce or CJ Stroud. Houston's going to get one or the other. If Houston wants Bryce Johnson and they're afraid, Bryce is there and they're afraid someone else might want to take him, then they should pay a little bit more to move from 2 to 1. Chicago picks up some picks. They still have a high draft pick. Maybe they can still get Will Anderson on the defensive side at number 2, right? Or get a lineman. I forgot who the top prospect is off the top of my head. But, and then I was reading, Mel Kiper's like that early analysis is that Chicago trades back twice. Trades from 1 to 2 with Houston, and then Carolina wants to come up. Oh, no, the Colts want to come up. And you just pick up some more to get Stroud. And you pick up a bunch of assets. You still have a high pick. You picked up some more draft picks. You got all this money. And just build around Justin Fields, man. That kid showed a lot last year with the trash that he had around him. And, I could say, definitely last season, he was the best fucking running quarterback in the league. Obviously, that's not saying much. But, did Lamar Jackson ever have games like that running? It feels like it's been a while, right? But I think the MVP year, I'm sure he had a few of those. But
here,
now I'm not saying that he's better than Lamar Jackson. I'm just saying that impact, though.
The 1 year before he has a year of film, before he has a real solid year of film, next year he won't be able to do that.
No, but at the same time, if you give him shit, then defense is going to say, okay, well, now he's got some receivers. Now he's got better running backs. He's got a line. If you just do the same thing again and you give him trash, of course, they'll be like, let's just load up the line.
Yeah.
But.
Which was Lamar's beef. They did the same thing the next year. They just didn't give him shit.
Didn't give him shit. But that's what Chicago should do is if they can trade back a couple of times, get some more picks. You got all that money.
Yeah.
Build around him, man. Get him, help. I mean, the free agent class for wide receivers isn't that great. It's a bunch of 2s and 3s out there.
Mm.
But if you find the right, 2s and 3s that fit the schemes you want to run, then maybe in the draft, you get a rookie.
What do you think about the Alvin Kamara situation?
Oh, he gonna be suspended next season for about 4 or 6 games.
He actually pled not guilty today. That's crazy.
Well,
I would hope. I mean, this video.
The video hadn't come out yet, but if that video is what if supposedly has been heard,
yeah,
you participated in that shit, brother. You participated in that shit. That's all you need to see. And if it was like like 3 or whatever it was, a bunch of guys against that one dude, and you got in there,
you
won't get suspended. You might get cut from New Orleans, by the way. Because his contract's pretty high.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of fucking some. They need cap space. Those guys are desperate.
Real desperate. So he's gonna be he might be on the market, but he might be suspended. So he could be cheap for someone next year. Who knows? Playoff team looking for. And that's the other interesting offseason talk. Like, Derrick Henry's on 1 year. Is he gonna be traded?
I heard him to Buffalo possibly.
Leonard Fournette's gonna get cut. Because Tampa's like $50 million over the cap. So Godwin was a potential trade target for the Giants. Evans is a potential trade to I forgot what other team. Dallas, was it? Which I would fucking hate. I think it was Dallas.
Yeah, I think believe it or not, I think they might have to get rid of Pollard. They're not gonna be able to sign him.
They're probably gonna franchise him.
Yeah, right. They franchise him. They can't get CD Lamb on number 2.
He's gonna have to restructure because they're over the cap.
CD Lamb number 2 because here's the thing, bro. I don't know if they'll do that. They need the money because
they're over the cap right now.
Yeah, and they gotta get CD Lamb number 2. Or one, honestly, to my opinion. But a number 2 receiver.
No, I think he showed
because they're designed. Now McCarthy's gonna be calling the plays. And is he basically threw what's his name under the bus?
Did you see what he said? That
the
reason he wants to run the call. He wants to run the ball and control the clock. Like, all right, bro. If that's how you want to go, old school. We'll see how that works.
No, he also wants to fit Dak Prescott's skill set. He wants to fit that skill set a little more. Like, you know what I mean? He understands that they don't have a 2. They don't have a true 2 receiver. So when you throwing a CD Lamb everywhere, tight end was trash. Yeah, you can't.
No, Schultz was good.
Relatively. Did he make a Pro Bowl? Was he the Pro Bowl?
No, but he played better than what he's expected to be played.
There you go. Yeah, I guess.
But he might get cut.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of cap casualties, man.
He was on a franchise last year. That's the thing.
Look at that shit.
They might lose him too.
All right. Well,
I wish Jay was on because he's the Cowboy fan.
He's definitely the Cowboy fan
and the cap guy.
What we could do is let's table some of this conversation to the next one. Let's move on. Let's talk. Major League Baseball's coming in, and they've had some rule changes, bro. Whether it's at home plate or at
the shift.
The shift, you can only shift 2, and the pitching mound, the amount of time a pitcher can throw the first, or he's on the clock.
Yep.
I don't know if they did it to make an example, but they had the first case of a 9-inning, a final out being on the batter for taking too long, and I already didn't like it. I already didn't like it because that's a big spot in a playoff game. I think that they should shut those clocks off in the 8th and 9th inning. That's what I think. I think they should turn the clock on inning 1 through 7 or 1 through 8. 1 through 7, 1 through 8. And then at 8 and 9, shut it off.
So baseball's got the overall big problem that it's just not appealing to young people because it takes for freaking ever.
Yes.
So the early returns when they were running it, I think in the minors and anything like that, is it accelerated the game by about 30 minutes. Having the pitch clock. So so just for people to have context, so the pitch timer is 15 seconds with the bases empty, 20 seconds with runners on. Right? Hitter gets 1 timeout per plate appearance, must be in batter's box with 8 seconds left. So pitchers get 2 disengagements, Pickoff attempts or step-offs per batter. Violations are a balk. Limits on pickoff attempts led to 26% increase in stolen bases, blah, blah, blah. Pitch timer helped reduce game length by 25 minutes in the minors and 22. So 25 minutes is the save.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I was reading is it took a while for the players to adjust in the minors.
Yes.
But they eventually got there. But the funny part is, these major leaguers, man, they got their routine.
Yeah, you got their egos.
They got their, grab the crotch. And
I just don't see. Listen, Pablo, man, you see fucking Yankees, Red Sox, bottom of the ninth, 10 situation, 3-1 count,
violation,
3-1 count. Yeah, and the pitcher wants to take a minute to throw the first, get his shit together, and he's under the roaring lights.
But to me, that's not even necessarily about the pitchers. It's more about the hitters getting out of the box, getting back in the box, stopping, getting back out of the box, do their little adjustment.
I think that they should just limit it to the 8th and 9th inning. I mean, take it away from the 8th. No time clock in 8th and 9th inning.
But we'll see how it goes. I mean, they're going to try it the way they did it in the minors. They like the way it came out in the minors. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not saying I disagree, but we'll see. And then, I mean, the other thing is the shift restrictions, right? 2 infielders must be positioned on either side of second base when the pitch is released. So that basically there goes the shift, right? Pretty much gone. All 4 infielders must have both feet within the infield when the pitcher is on the rubber. So now you can't even bring let's say the shortstop or the second baseman out into the outfield a little bit, right?
Can't shade him.
I mean, that one I have a little bit more of a problem with than the pitch clock, because now you're limiting the type of defense that you can play. Can you imagine like the NFL if you told the team that you can bring your 2 linebackers up to the defensive line when the ball is snapped to mimic a blitz? No, they have to be 3 to 5 yards back behind the defensive line.
Yeah,
can you imagine the uproar that would happen? And that's kind of how I see it here. You know what I'm saying? Like
we'll see. We're gonna see, man.
The one that it's curious to me is the bigger bases.
Yeah, what is that about?
That's what I'm curious about. It said it's supposed to have a positive impact on player safety. I don't know. There've been more.
I guess. Then I
ain't gonna lie. That's how I tore my meniscus in 2008 playing softball, running second base, and I stepped on the bag, and then I heard a pop. But the distance reduced by 3 inches from home to first, home to third, reduced by 4.5 inches from first to second, and second to third. Mm-hmm. That is impactful to when you're throwing the ball around. But we'll see. It said it led to reduced injuries by the bases by 13% in the minors. So
I don't even know how. Whatever. I guess.
We'll see. I was curious about that one.
That's a stretch to me. I don't know.
I mean, they got to do something because the overall problem, like I said at the beginning, was the audience is old.
Yeah. I think the in-game experience needs to increase. Needs to get better. The in-game, they got to stop selling the first 30 rows to corporate sponsors. If they can manage to do that, and let the average fan,
there's going to be a bunch of teams in baseball that are going to have a real problem now with that regional sports network issue happening. Because if those regional sports networks go out of business,
yeah, you got teams like St. Louis, Milwaukee.
There's income that's going to be lost until they can figure out a way to get those games back on. It doesn't affect basketball or even hockey because they have salary caps.
And they have the revenue there, don't they?
Well, no, but what happens when you have a salary cap sport is if the revenue is expected to be less, then your salary cap goes less. Mm-hmm. But baseball doesn't really have a salary cap.
Yeah.
So some of these teams are making decisions because for a lot of these teams, that regional sports network income is their primary income. So if that goes away, but these teams, like that's how they do the payroll and all that other stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And they make financial decisions off of that income that they expect to get. That's actually going to supposedly start being paid now in April by these networks, but they're going to declare bankruptcy. So they declare bankruptcy doesn't mean that these baseball teams are going to get that income that they're supposed to be getting.
I think it's such a big source of their income, and with the advertisement and everything, they'll figure out a way.
No, I mean, there's teams that are really going to get hit hard by it. I mean, it's not the Yankees and the Mets because the Yankees and the Mets have their own networks.
I know, but that kind of money getting thrown around, even like teams like Oakland that are never running a profit, they'll figure it out. They're going to figure it out.
No, baseball. No, yeah. You know what has to happen? Major League Baseball has to get a loan.
That's crazy.
But they have to figure out what they're going to do going forward. Can they get a loan to mitigate the issues, in the short term? Yeah. But what are they going to do going forward? How are they going to put these teams on television if there's no regional sports network to do it? Right? So they have to figure that out. And that's where the impact comes. And that should probably be a bigger story than it really is. And I'm surprised it's not a bigger story. Because it isn't just affecting baseball. Like I said, it can affect the NBA, because like Fox Sports Florida, right? They play the Heat. If Fox Sports Florida is going to be gone, how are they going to show the Heat?
I think they just got moved over to the Fox network. They're going to be hosting their shows. I know at radio they're definitely going to be doing radio. Their radio play-by-play. So I don't know. We'll see.
But that's a major source of income.
The last
Speaking of the NBA, is that what you wanted to go to? NBA?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
Hey man, come on. I joke about them. I despise them, but your boys are on the roll, man.
Yeah, man. The Knicks, bro.
Your boys are on the roll.
I really
they're the 4th seed, bro.
Yeah, and I like you. I think they're gonna end up playing, which I'm worried about. I think they'll probably end up playing like a Cleveland, which is not a good matchup for us. I think that's who will end up playing in like the first round. Cleveland.
You know who was really scared about that? Talking about that, Stephen A. Because he's been on the thing this week that if the Knicks and the Cavaliers play in the series and they lose to Donovan Mitchell, who they could have had.
Yes. Oh my God. That's exactly it, bro. That's exactly it. I'm thinking that dreamboat of a fucking player.
And all it was going to cost was RJ Barrett. And they didn't want to do it.
And RJ's playing okay. Just okay.
Not lately.
He's just okay. I'm not, I've never been a fan of his. That's why I'm like, yeah, he's okay. Brunson is our guy. Even Randall has showed up. Like we had some guys playing,
he's
man.
He's played every game this year. He's been there. You know what I'm saying? He still can't dribble right. But,
low basketball IQ, but still, as long as you don't put him on the spot in the fourth quarter, he's good for us. We're good. Yeah, man. Fuck, bro. I'm like, they're good. What do you call it? So let's do the MVP talk, man. Mm-hmm. You're dead set that the MVP is the best player during the league, and that Jokic is the best player right now.
Well, I'm not the one making the rule about the MVP, but it is a regular season award. That's zero to do with what you do in the playoffs. It's always been that way.
Yeah, but I just don't. I don't know, man. I guess it's not an eye test, but the eye test doesn't tell me that he's. Do
you watch Denver games? Because I don't, and they're late.
No, I didn't see the highlight. I just see the highlights or whatever. But like, who would you rather have, Jokic or Giannis?
Oh, we're having a different conversation. We're talking about building a team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, who would you rather have, though?
I'd rather have Giannis if I want to build a team.
Giannis or who would you have, Embiid or Jokic?
Probably Jokic.
Probably Jokic.
Because this is an offensive-based league, and so he's a little bit better. He does, because he averages a triple-double. You can sit there and say the scoring is similar. It's a difference of a few points right now. The rebounds, you can probably make a case they're similar, but he gets assists, so he's a facilitator. Means he's a focal point of the offense, and he makes things happen for other people. And they got a bunch of awesome shooters in freaking Denver, which is why they're the number 1 seed in the West.
If he was a third,
so to me, that's an element. And I want to make sure I express it in this manner. It's an element of making others better around you.
If he goes third MVP, aren't you almost forced to kind of put him in the all-time great list?
No, because you still need playoff results. He needs to have playoff results.
Okay. He
needs to get to a finals. I'm not going to necessarily say that I think he has to win the finals, but he's got to show that he can do this.
He got to will his team to one, right?
But that has nothing to do about whether or not he's an MVP for the regular season. I know a lot of people struggle with that. They view that, but I'm just going by the rules of what they do it. You know what I'm saying? And it's a regular season award. And there are people out there that are again the short attention span type of crowd. Whatever, give it to somebody else because we're tired of seeing him get it. There are people that say that.
No, that to me is history. That's what they've done. It's not to me. That's not a short side. The award has it. It has a history of doing that.
Yeah, I know.
Where guys get to the point where it's obnoxious to reward them.
But then think about the fact that it hasn't happened with this guy back to backs. that should then say much more about who he is as a player. That the people, basically people that are they're a part of giving this award out, which is a mixture of players and media, right? That have traditionally will sit there and say, "Nah, we're not going to give it to this guy," because if not, LeBron James would be winning it virtually every year, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
so for the fact that he's won 2 in a row and he's the the leading candidate right now, not by a mile. I'm not trying to make it look like he's by a mile ahead of Giannis or Tatum or Embiid. But if you were to ask him today, he's he would get it. So that's just my my view on it. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna be angry if he doesn't win. It's not that I care that much. But I'm just going by the merits of his performance.
All right. So. Well, we touched on a couple of things. Obviously, we're going to go a little deeper when we have the rest of our crew with us. I want to hear everybody's opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming out tonight and listening to us. Please like, share, let your friends know about us, comment, join us on the podcast. This has been this hopeful. What I always do. This has been the Sports is My Love Language podcast. And they say the 2 most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you discover why. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm behind my man, P.D. Pablo, a.k.a. El Schefter. Myself, Dropping Dimes, a.k.a. the hopeless romantic, the hopeful romantic, the feminist with chauvinist tendencies. I want to say thank you for joining us in our living room, joining us in our barbershop, and thank you for helping us walk in our why. Have a good one, people.
Peace.